Welcome to a new lecture on logistics management. Today we will look at the popular and famous news vendor model. This model is a model to decide about how much quantities you should order, and therefore, of course, it's also part of our inventory management topic. In our last lecture, we had a look at the economic order quantity, and this is a very nice model, a simple and nice model that illustrates nicely the trade-offs between the setup costs of ordering and the holding costs. However, a major assumption of this model is that we for sure know the demand. The demand is considered as deterministic. Therefore, we can make precise ordering calculations. In the news vendor model that we will deal with today, we relax this assumption, and now we recognize that demand of our customers is uncertain. It is stochastic. We are not aware of how much we will sell to our customers. Maybe we have some idea, maybe we have some previous sales data so that we have a rough idea how much we could sell, but it is not sure, it is not guaranteed. And of course, this is an assumption that is much closer to reality because companies use forecasts all the time, and based on these forecasts, then we treat the world as if it would be predictable. This is a common working assumption. It is not a good approach to just criticize models and say the assumptions are unrealistic without providing a better solution. Yeah? So you can always say models are too easy for the real world, but then please provide a better solution, a better model that is more suitable. And often these simple models can provide quite some interesting insights. What are some basic principles of forecasting? The most important principle of forecasting is that forecasts are always wrong. This might be counterintuitive when you learn about forecasting, but it's basically the most important lesson. You can do forecasts, you can put in a lot of effort to make forecasts, but you always need to work under the assumption that your forecasts will be wrong in the end. That does not mean that forecasts are useless, but I'm just saying they will not be 100% true. Maybe a better forecast is closer to the reality than a worse forecast, though it makes definitely sense to learn about forecasts, to invest in better technology to produce forecasts, but for your business operation, you always need to take into account that the forecast is not the reality. Typically, the longer the forecast is in the future, the more difficult it is to get a precise forecast. So it might be easier to forecast what will happen in the next week than it is to forecast what's happening in the next week in 2 years. Though if the forecasting horizon is shorter, typically we can generate more precise forecasts. And the third principle says that if we aggregate forecasts, we can create more accurate forecasts. So what does aggregating forecasts mean? Instead of creating a forecast for a single product, it is easier and more accurate to do a forecast for a group or a family of products. So for example, for Mercedes, it is typically easier, they are more precise in the forecast to say how many cars they will sell in the next year, 2021. Though this forecast is easier because it includes all the different types of Mercedes cars that they sell all over the world. And this forecast is easier than just picking one specific Mercedes car like the E-Class with a certain engine and doing a forecast for this car with this configuration and engine. Now, these are just some basic ideas about forecasting. We will not go into details on how to calculate forecasting. This will be done in future courses, but today we will use this forecasted information to try to improve our ordering decision. And today we will have a look at a single period model in which the demand is considered uncertain and we have only a single ordering opportunity. That is, we are allowed to place only one order. Recall, in the economic order quantity model, we could place as many orders as we wanted. And another name for this model is the news vendor or newsboy model, because it was first built to model the situation of a paperboy who is selling papers for a given day. And before the paperboy goes out to see the customers, he had to decide how many papers he should take with him, and then he can sell the papers during this day. And you see already an important characteristics. Once the day is over, the newspapers are more or less worthless. So as long as the paperboy sells the newspapers on the given day, with the current news of the day, the people are willing to pay the price of the newspaper, but on the next day, nobody is going to pay the newspaper boy for the news from yesterday. Though the price the paperboy can charge during the selling season is completely different from the price the paperboy can charge once the selling season is over. And this model can be very helpful for products with a short life cycle, like magazines, newspapers, but although fashion products, they are only fashionable for a couple of weeks or months, or fresh products like fish or pastries. We have only one ordering opportunity because there's only one sales period. For the newspaper case, it was 1 day. For the fashion, it could be a couple of weeks, but because the lead time of producing the clothes is so long, we only have one ordering opportunity. And the thing is that before the demand from the customers occurs, we have to decide how much stock we want to order to meet the customer demand. And if we order too many stocks, if our stock is too high, then we cannot sell everything to our customers and we have to throw away the surplus inventory, and maybe we can even sell it, but typically at a very low price. In a bad situation, maybe we even have to pay to get rid of this. And on the other hand, when we order too little, if our stock is too low, then we cannot fulfill the complete customer's demand. We lose sales opportunity.